What's going on, YouTube? OCD for EDC here. What I got for your face balls today. We are checking out my list of the top 5 Spydercos in my collection, and I am judging this based off how much I use them, how much I carry them, and just how much I generally enjoy the knife. You know, I know there's a lot of people out there that see a lot of Spydercos on my channel, and you're probably thinking that I'm just going to throw out stuff that's in, 15V, because that's the new hotness. Well, that's not what's happening here. I know that you're thinking, I've seen a Spyderco K2 on his channel and weird things like the Spyderco Tropin and the Spyderco Civilian, which, by the way, this one's for sale on the website if somebody's interested in the Civilian. But we're not talking about those either, because Spyderco has a lot of knives out there, and as much as I love my K2 in 10V, and I absolutely do, it's not one that I carry all the time. I also love the Tropin. The Tropin is a wonderful knife, great in hand, and it's fantastic, but it doesn't get carried all that often. I do have some knives like my XHP Cutlery Shop exclusive with the CME. If you guys don't know the CME, go check it out, ocdforedc.com. Turns your Spyderco Shaman or your PM2 or Para 3 or several others. I was just looking for a PM2. Here's one for my wife. Hers has got a sparkly CME on it, and hers is all beat to shit and used. But, so you can get a CME to fit many, many different knives. I'm not talking about the Spyderco Shaman either. Even though I do love this knife and it is a wonderful knife, not making my top 5 list. Now, I do love, you guys probably already know that I love the Manix, and I certainly have a lot of Manixes. This one here, or Mani, whatever you want to call it. This one here is a older Sprint Run S90V. It's got, I can't remember what they called these. Whatever you want to call them. Scales. They're G10, but they're like a swirl, black and brown G10, black coated S90V. It's a wonderful knife. And the Spyderco Manix 2 lightweight, this one happened to be in Spy 27, which I think there's one of these on the website if anyone's interested. OCDforedc.com. Fantastic knives, and probably the best value for an American-made knife. They are wonderful knives. They are screw construction now instead of being pinned. Come in great steels. And, like Blade HQ had an exclusive with M4 Manix 2 lightweight, and it was like $115 or something like that. Crazy. So those are both awesome knives. Love the Manix. And we have things like the Spyderco Stretch 2 and K390. This is probably one of the best user knives on the market today. The steel is phenomenal. This thing is great in hand. Essentially, this is like a backlock PM2, but this one here happens to be for a friend of mine, a coworker. I didn't pull mine out because mine's beat up, and I use it quite often, and it's one that just kind of stays in the shop. But it's a wonderful user, K390, awesome blade steel, but that's not making my top 5 list either. Then, we get into like some specialty things like the new Sprint Run Subvert, amazing knife, but still not making the top 5 list. I'm going to start it off with probably my most carried Spyderco ever, and it's beat up and it's wore out and all those things. It's the knife that I prototyped the CME on and still carry it to this day. It is my Maximate Para 3. This knife has been, God, I don't even know how much use this knife has on it. I've acid washed the blade a couple of times. It needs to happen again because it is starting to show some rust and stuff. I did clean it up a little bit, but, it's got a janky pocket clip on it that's all beat up. It's got Cerberus scales. Thanks so much to them for hooking me up with these Ultim scales. And it's got a glow carbon fiber CME on it. This thing has been used and abused. I did have to drill out the holes for the left-hand carry on the scales, but you know the deal. So this is number 5 favorite Spyderco in my collection, just because it's been used and abused so much, and it's still rolling strong. Action's great. It's a wonderful knife. Started the CMEs. You know what I mean? Can't be mad at that. So there we go. Number 5, Spyderco Maximet Para 3. Number 4 on my list is probably a knife that you guys haven't really heard me talk about very much, but I love it. It's a wonderful knife. It's great to carry. It's great in hand. It's a wonderful user, and probably one of the most underrated Spydercos in my opinion, and it happens to be the Spyderco Watu. This knife right here is absolutely fantastic. I do have a CME for this, but at the moment I've taken it off. We're doing some different things there. This is just a phenomenal knife. This thing is in 20 CV blade steel. This one comes from Taiwan. It is wonderful in hand. You've got some good jimping up here on the choil area, but the handle shape is just fantastic. It does have a wire clip. Of course, it's reversible, right or left, tip up carry only. It's on washers. It is a compression lock knife. Blade centering is perfect. Blade stock on this thing is very, very thin, just to put it into perspective. There it is with the Para 3. So you can see how thin the blade is on the Watu, which you guys know that I'm all about blade geometry. This is a wonderful knife. I love, it's not a perfect straight cutting edge. It does have a little bit of belly right through this area and kind of curves up a little bit, but it is just an absolute wonderful user. I really, really love the Spyderco Watu. Pocket's great. It's thin. It's lightweight. And, it's an interesting looking one. So love the Spyderco Watu. And it makes it to number 4 on my list. Next up, another one that you guys really haven't seen much on the channel. I love it. It's a wonderful knife. And it is the Spyderco Bob Lum folder. This knife came out as a special release. This was I can't even remember what they call it now, but it's not a sprint run, but it was a drop like the Bombshell was. I can't even remember what, they have a term for it, and I can't remember off the top of my head. But this one here is in M390 blade steel. It's absolutely gorgeous. The handle shape on this thing is just wonderful. Love the thumb ramp here. There is no jimping. But this thing has a beautiful hollow ground blade, M390. Love the blade shape and size of this knife. So it is quite a large knife in comparison to, there it is with the Para 3. So you can see that the Lum folder, much, much larger knife. And I really like Bob Lum's designs. If you guys have seen, I've got a Bob Lum design Benchmade that I love a lot. Called the Onslaught, and it is a wonderful knife. This one here, just a fantastic knife. It is a liner lock. Love the hollow ground blade. Really, really good knife. So Bob Lum folder makes it to number 3 on my list. Now we're hitting number 2 on my list for favorite of all time Spydercos, and we're getting into hollowed ground here. But I absolutely adore this knife. It's one of my absolute favorites, and it is the Gayle Bradley 2. This knife right here, I have an aftermarket clip on mine, and I will be totally transparent with you guys. In my opinion, you need to mill out the liner on the show side to give better access to the lock bar. And once you do that, this knife is absolutely phenomenal. The hollow ground blade here is fantastic. The jimping, you just have a small amount of jimping up here on the thumb ramp, but it works beautifully. Love the thumb ramp. Everything about this knife I absolutely adore. It is one of the best things, in my opinion, that Spyderco has made, and the handle shape is wonderful. It's got carbon fiber. It's the laminate carbon fiber over G10, but the texture on it is fantastic, and it's just a wonderful knife. Pockets well. I've done videos on this knife before. I've called it the poor man's Sebenza because it's very similar in size to a full size or a large Sebenza. M4 blade steel, hollow ground blade. It's one of the best Spydercos made, in my opinion. If you guys have not checked out the Gayle Bradley 2, I suggest you do so because it is wonderful. This is a knife that I use a lot. I carry a lot, and it's just one of my all-time favorites. And you can see I take pretty good care of it, but there are scratches and stuff on the pocket clip. You know, I try and wipe the blade off, you know, if I'm cutting anything that's going to leave marks or rust or anything else. I do have a little rust spot right there, if you can see it starting to happen. Either way, it's a wonderful knife, and I endorse the hell out of this knife right here. So, Gayle Bradley 2, you are OCD certified for sure. Now, for my favorite Spyderco of all time, a knife that I actually carry quite a bit, it is the Spyderco Manix 2 Frayed and Lock Edition with the Saber hollow ground 4V blade steel. So this thing is in CPM 4V blade steel, Saber ground hollow. You can see the light reflecting off that hollow grind there. There's fingerprints. Let me get a little rag here and get this old girl cleaned up. She deserves to be pretty. Absolutely love this knife. I love the marble carbon fiber. I love the hollow ground blade. It is phenomenal. Of course, this one has my OCD for EDC Manix 2 upgrade kit with the ceramic ball and a lighter spring and a black, this one's got the black aluminum Flytanium ball cage. Otherwise, she's box stock clip. I like the spoon clip. It works well. And of course, she's riding on Slick-em-all. All of these are. So if you guys want great action and great usability on your Spyderco Manix 2, check out the website. You can get a ball cage kit, and we've got all the colors and all the things. So really cool little Manix 2 upgrade kits. So check those out. There you go, guys. That is my top 5 Spydercos as of right now for my collection. Like I said, these are all knives that I use and carry. I absolutely love these knives, and these are kind of mainstays of my collection. Post it up in the comments. Let me know what your guys' favorite Spydercos are. You know, is it the Spyderco Shaman? I know that's a really popular one. One that I didn't put on the list is a PM2. Again, a knife that I absolutely adore, but it doesn't rank higher than the 5 that I have here. So the PM2 is great. You know, of course, the 15V PM2, wonderful knife, absolutely great user. Just couldn't make my list here. I would rather carry the Manix than the PM2, especially if it's a hollow ground blade. Anyway, guys, throw it up in the comments. Let me know what your favorite Spydercos are, or what your top 5 list would be. Hopefully you enjoyed that video. I'm out of here. Peace.